It's certainly no secret to anyone here that Mayor Welch could have worked anywhere. He was a renowned philatelist, easy for me to say, known internationally for his work in philately. He edited a magazine with a global reach, and he wrote beautifully and knowledgeably enough to make any newspaper sing. He traveled the world, he explored its cities, and he became a devoted student of literature and culture. And he could have chosen anywhere, or lots of anywheres, to build a life and a career. And he would have done well anywhere. But rather than bounce around the anywheres of the world, as so many of us do these days, Bill chose somewhere, and he stuck with it. He chose the somewhere that helped to mold him as a boy and as a man. He chose the somewhere that's grounded in its past, but is driven by the future. It's the somewhere that inspires the next generation, year in and year out. It's the somewhere that allows community, honest work, and thoughtful debate to forge its identity. Bill was sharp enough to recognize the beauty and potential in his hometown of State College, and he chose to make it better. Visitors sometimes see this place as simply bucolic. That word seems to come up a lot. They see it as a small, happy town removed from the cold realities of the bigger world. And in ways, their cliche does hold a kernel of truth. We are, after all, extraordinarily fortunate here. But it would be a mistake to cast us as a bunch of navel-gazing isolationists. Indeed, it was Bill who, through his own example, illustrated that being local does not preclude being global. He showed us that reverence for your roots does not make you provincial necessarily. It makes you wiser. It makes you keen to history. Bill was a Central Pennsylvanian who lived in Central Pennsylvania, but he was nothing short of an international scholar and a student of history in the leadership that he brought to State College. He led with an appetite for global context and a passion for data-based decision-making. He injected history to the public conversation when it provided background, relevance, and depth. But he resisted that tendency to cling to every aging relic and mark it as historic just because it's old. His deference to history was centered not so much in the tangible things that the past leaves for us, things like the buildings, the streetscape, parks. Instead, he loved history largely because of what it can teach us and how it can inform us and how it can help us prepare for a stronger future. He loved history for its humor, its wisdom, and its humanity, and the value of its experience. In fact, history taught him firsthand why it's no good to vandalize a high school, especially if your father sits on the school board. You can see me later after this if you haven't heard that particular yarn before. And I have to believe that Bill enjoyed the irony and the ascent of a one-time vandal to the mayor's office. But that's a little bit off the point. My point here is that Bill valued history because of the potential that it has to improve people's lives if we pay attention to it. And I like to refer to his tenure in elected office as Bill Welch's State College. But the truth is that he never really saw it as his town. He saw himself as a servant and a contributor to its well-being and its continued success. And he saw himself as a steward of its inspired past and its hopeful future. And that brings us to the matter of legacy. And it seems to me, thought a lot about this over the past couple of weeks, and it seems to me that the tough thing about legacy is that we don't really get to define our own. No matter what we do in life or how much good we accomplish, the legacies we leave are really defined by those who succeed us. As Bill himself once said, perhaps more than once, life is for the living. Bearing that in mind, I suggest that we build and honor his legacy by drawing guidance from his own example. We should not fear progress, but embrace it thoughtfully, with enthusiasm. Our town mothers and fathers should represent and reach out to all of their constituents, young and old, permanent and temporary. We should always root for the Steelers.
Wait a minute.
And if all else fails, we should never lose the touch of kindness or a generosity of spirit. Welcome everyone, encourage love, and never lose faith in humanity. These are Bill's lessons. As we go about writing his legacy, let us be as wise to our roots and to our world as he was.